Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Better off. I am wicked, you're insane. But I wouldn't have it any other way. If we're knocked out, we'll go the distance. Pound for pound, we're a perfect match. Pulling punches, or toe to toe, we're always on the road. Worse or better, we can't stop, we can't stop. 'Cause together, we're better off. And we can. Better off, better off. Better off. I am crooked, you're clean cut. I'm wide-eyed, your eyes are shut. If we're knocked out, we'll go the distance. Pound for pound, we're a perfect match. Pulling punches, or toe to toe, we're always on the road. Worse or better, we can't stop, we can't stop. 'Cause together, we're better off. And we can. And we can. waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest. Echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon. Turn us. Alrighty, hello everybody, and welcome to our grand finals wave line of, EGL. I am joined today by Matt Pizza. Clutch couldn't make it. Sultan, I have no idea. Dude just fell off the grid. So, Matt Pizza, how are you doing at his grand finals of EGL? It's pretty exciting. It's been a long 12 weeks, and, we're here.
Yeah, and it's been a it's been a long but interesting 12 weeks, right? We got so many storylines being made, so many teams like making their mark on EGL, trying to win it all, and we got some interesting things we can talk about in the Waveline today.
Yeah, I mean, there's still obviously last week's, shenanigans that went down, VBU versus Hyperion. And yeah, going
Mhm.
into it, it is VBU versus Flippa. So this is a match we've seen before. But yeah, it's been a long journey, and I guess we'll just have to get right into it. So obviously we're gonna look at Hyperion versus VBU, and it was a 3-0 for VBU. So Matt Pizza, last week I think you did actually say it was gonna be a VBU win. I think you said 3-1,
Mhm.
if I remember correctly. But yeah, what do you think went down? Why do you think VB was able to pull the 3-0 in this series?
So, okay, I guess I'll start from my prediction, right? Like I said 3-1 VBU because from the VBU we've seen throughout the whole entire season, they've always dropped a game. They've never been able to 2-0 a team and or get 0-2. They've always been able to take a game off of them. But them taking a game, them just 3-0ing Hyperion Gaming shows us that this original roster, right? Like pre this matchup, pre run 3 game in the other games of the final or playoffs, right? It was like the rosters weren't stable. It was like you have like Buckbeam ADC, you have Toxin support, you have Islamic support, you have Ikizuchi. Like there were so many things going on. But in this matchup, we had the standard VBU Krypton roster come up, and everyone was in the normal worlds. And that break from the original Krypton roster in and then now back to the original Krypton roster shows us that they were able to fix the mistakes that they had, right? They're now able to play as a cohesive team much better than they were before. And it showed against Hyperion Gaming, right? Like Hyperion Gaming was the first seed in EGL for the longest time. They only dropped one game and that was to BDE. And many people thought that they were just gonna make it to the finals, but unfortunately they like did lose to Flippa. And now finals, like, it's a whole nother story. But in this game, I think I definitely have to like say that the top side of the map is definitely stronger than what it was before. Like obviously the team at heart still plays around Kaiden, but now the solo lanes, more specifically the top and jungle, right? They're more reliable. They're more like impactful in these fights, and it just shows us that there's this new stronger VBU team that's here.
Yeah, and I think time and time again, like you said, it has been kind of the kite and show all of the season for VBU and Hyperion. I think going throughout the season, they were a strong team on paper. They were obviously very strong throughout the whole regular season. And I don't know, like I think once Hyperion got into playoffs, it was just I felt like that they were a whole different team. I'm not sure, maybe nerves got to them, or maybe there was like some internal stuff going on, but I don't know. It was really sad to see a team as dominant as Hyperion and showing, so much strength through the regular season and showing like, we're basically here to just take it all and kind of fall flat on their faces during the playoffs. I think, yeah, like you said, Matt Pizza, there has been a lot of growth. There has been a lot of change, especially through VBU. I think I've talked about it before during the other pregame shows and other wavelines, and I did think that VBU had too many roster changes. I think there was too many changes and attempts to, switch up the strategy during playoffs, right? And then I thought that was like, if we were going to make these changes had to be made, before playoffs. They had to be made, like, I think at least like halfway through the regular season to really solidify anything. So honestly, I'm not really surprised that VBU kind of went back to their original roster. I don't think their changes were bad, actually. They were able to win against Monkeys Rising, I think, with that altered roster. But again, like, I do think, like you said, Matt Pizza, VBU has kind of come back stronger, right? Their original roster, they were like, yeah, things aren't working, okay, let's switch it up. And then they're like, okay, well, maybe this isn't working, or it's kind of working, or, they kind of learned from experimenting a little bit and seeing what works, what doesn't work, and I think they're able to implement the changes that they needed to and put their original roster back together. So they have that synergy, they have the, I think they have what it takes, honestly. But obviously going against Hyperion and 3-0ing them, I think was a really strong showing. Obviously, Hyperion had a couple subs. I think game 1, I don't think they had Rune Mage and Dracana. So I think that was a big reason. I think Hyperion kind of lacked the team cohesion that we've seen throughout the whole season. Hyperion had a lot of, I don't know, like plays that I felt that they were obviously communicated. They were obviously like on the same page. And there was, I think, someone that was always kind of driving the, the Hyperion bus. But yeah, after playoffs, and I think Hyperion, I'm not sure like who was driving. I think we had like at least 3 people on like trying to hold hands on the wheel or something. Or there was nobody at the wheel, right? And it's really unfortunate because, like I said before, Hyperion again was a very strong team coming into playoffs, and VBU, I think, also was a strong team ending 5-2 in the regular season. So obviously not a team to, swipe under the rug, but I saw a lot of obvious flaws within VBU, mostly just because obviously the games that they lost, and there's a whole bunch of just all these roster changes and a whole bunch of just, let's just throw things at the wall and see what sticks. But I think what VBU is doing right now and moving forward, they have a really good chance going against Flippa. I know that this was obviously this was a series that they have gone against before, losing to Flippa. I think it should have been a 2-0 for Flippa instead of the 2-1 that we saw, because Chitin Hero plays. But I digress. Matt Pizza, I do agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, going into next week then, or not next week, next series. What do you think? It technically is the next series, because we're still looking at the Hyperion VBU one, my friend.
Oh yeah, I see.
Okay, well, unfortunately, we're gonna have to look at like everyone's predictions that didn't show up. So Matt Pizza, you and we are on the opposite sides of the coin here. I just went on about VBU, but I haven't talked about Flippa yet. So Flippa, I think, obviously just stomping through the whole playoff season. They have like some playoff buff or something. Like, I don't know. I think they stole all the power from Hyperion in the regular season and channeled it into their playoffs, playoff season. But like Flippa was a 4-3 team, I believe. No, it has to add up to 7. Yeah, 4-3. They were 4-3 in the season. So, I think Flippa was a team that had a lot of shaky ground at the beginning. They didn't have a good, I think, solid roster yet, and I think that Flippa went through a lot of growing pains. If anything, I think Flippa is the roster that has gone through the most growth and development throughout the series, the whole season, excuse me, and it's really showing because I think what Flippa has now, I think once they hit playoffs, they're like, okay, guys, we're going to put on our try-hard pants, we're going to try our best, and we're going to just win, right? And they show up every single week, and they show us, like, why time and time again that this, they're here to win. They're here to win their mystery skins and, be the EGL champions. So, Matt Pizza, I'll let you go on your 3-1 VBU prediction. So, break it down. Like, what do you think is going to be the biggest reason that VBU is able to 3-1 the series against a team like Flippa?
Okay, so we know that Flippa, like you've been saying, Flippa has like just improved so much throughout the course of EGL, right? But that's not to say like other teams haven't improved, right? Because in like the earlier match, when VBU played against Flippa back in July, VBU did take a game off of Flippa. Now, granted, that might have been the character miracle, but we'll just brush that under the rug, okay? Nonetheless, VBU did manage to take a game off of Flippa, right? But now Flippa hasn't played a game since July 12th, right? And it's been a few weeks since they've played a game, I mean, granted, they could be scrimming, they could be playing flexes, they could be practicing and all of that other stuff, right? But VBU has played about 2 more games than them, 2 more series, and they've 3-0 both series. They have so much like time to build up these strategies, to build up to this game. And now that they are going against Flipper, right, with these stronger solo lanes, the top lane much stronger, bot lane more stable, and they'll be able to play around their win condition, Kaiten, much better now than they were before. And I think like just combining all of that together, right, like just everyone's improved. I think that VBU does have a good chance to beat Flippa United. And I'm saying 3-1 because, VB can't 3-0. 3-0 a 3-0 in finals would be kind of, it would be kind of stinky. So,
Yeah,
see
it's
a
gonna be
3-1.
like the 3-0s that we saw in every single playoff stream in EDL and EGL, so I'm not complaining. But okay, then Matt Pizza, then what do you think, how do you see VBU losing this series then?
I think if I could imagine VB losing if they regress to like old VBU when the top lane needs the resources and the resources are being diverted from the mid to the top to make sure the top lane is like stable. It's like alive. And then bot lane just left to its own accord and then it might just self-destruct. So I think VBU loses if top lane loses and bot lane loses. And like at that point, 2 losing lanes, 3 people on the enemy team are strong versus essentially just Kaiten and Allfire. And Allfire will most likely be on a tank to try to like engage / peel Kaiten. And there's only so many things that a 2v7 can do, like or 2v8 can do. So it's like if the solo laners are dying, if the opposite sides of the map are dying, that's how I imagine VBU will lose. But I like I said, I don't think that I think the solo laners are definitely stronger. Top is definitely stronger. Bot is more stable. I think that won't happen. But it'll be a close series nonetheless.
Man says close series, puts 3-1 while everyone says 3-2.
Okay, listen. I need to somehow catch up. Okay, guys, come on. The analyst points are right there. Imagine if I win this and you guys are wrong. Imagine if they do 3-1. I'm gonna get so many points.
Yeah, okay. Well, honestly, Matt Pizza, I can have to agree. I think that on the other side of the coin, obviously, I think that Flippa has all of these strong points of the map. I don't think there's like one player that they have to rely on to carry, like we've seen Kaiten have to do time and time again. So I think VBU, while their strategies they have are good and have proven, that gets them wins. I think that if Flippa is able to come in with the correct game plan and know what to do in the first 15 minutes, I think the first 15 minutes of any game can help, obviously decide what, kind of decides the tide of the game, right? And there's so much that goes on and it kind of can start a snowball. And I think once Flippa has those snowballs rolling and they are that one step ahead of VBU, I think VBU is going to have trouble coming back into games where they're behind. And you can rely on Kite Hero play so many times, I think, but I think, like you said, Matt, Pizza VBU really has to rely on a lot of, not luck, but I think it's more, like you said, like their solo lanes and their strategies, and they can't regress to old VBU, because obviously if that happens, I think they're just going to lose at like every point of the map to Flippa at that point. So what I want to see from Flippa, honestly, is just those game plans. Like first 15 minutes, I think I think this team needs to have that game plan and know what to do. If it's just being one step ahead, right? I think the most important part is know, like, well, if this player is going to go to this lane and then I show up and, get that pick and then win, and then say, for example, you win that fight and then you relieve some pressure in that lane and then you're able to go to get Dragon and then and you start like a very small, a small ripple, right, that creates a wave. So
Yeah.
It's going to depend a lot for Flippa, I think, how all of these games start. I think that's where the power lies, right? And we've seen a lot of Kaiten. If he plays like Tristana, he just jumps, and we saw it last stream. Poor Dracana and his family. Kaiten was like, oh, rocket jump, E, Q, 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 bam, dead. And like, it really depends, right? Unless Kaiten is making all of these plays by himself, I feel like, there are a lot of different avenues for Flippa. I think if Kurito is able to just even like neutralize Kaiten, right? I think that makes Flippa's chances so much better and so much higher at winning just like one game even, or the whole series. So it really depends, I think, like I said, how these games start. Obviously, I think VBU has a lot of I think they have a lot of good team fighting that I've seen, like mid to late game. I've seen a lot of, I don't want to say flipping the fights or anything, but it's more like they know when to take risks, right? And they're like, we know that in order to even have a chance at winning, we have to fight here, right? So I think sometimes VBU just shows up to fights and walk out like just as the better players, right? I think that VBU has a lot of mechanical talent. They have a lot of, I think they have a lot of like just proactive mindsets on the team. There are a lot of people that want to get something done on the map, right? It just really depends if that puts them behind or if that, turns sour and puts them behind and, kind of loses them the first, half of the game and makes it really hard to come back. So, but I have seen VBU play really well from behind often, and it depends. So it just, like I said, it really depends to who's like, you're playing like some 5D chess. You've got to be ahead of somebody, you're like, okay, this person, I'm going to predict this, but I'm going to predict that they predicted like my predict, and
Gotta predict the predictions.
Yeah, exactly. And you're playing like 5D chess, and yeah, I think that like we've seen all of playoffs though that Flippa has done their homework, right? So I think that, as a team that has gone against VBU and beaten them before, and I think VBU again is coming in with that same roster, most likely. I don't know 100%, but I do think that VBU is coming in with that same roster that Flippa has beat before. So if Flippa has beat them once, they can beat them again. So I think those are my thoughts on that series. So Matt Pizza, one of my other questions to you. We know that on VBU, there are some really big picks. Obviously, there's Chitin on the Corki. We've seen the Pentakill. We've seen All Fire on Sejuani like 50 times. We've seen Akbalo on the Jace a few times, the Silas. I think Toxin has played Ziggs and Ashe and Islamic. I know a few big picks for him, or like Galio set. And we've seen him play Tark, I think, once or twice. So Matt Pizza,
so.
So Matt Pizza, from from that kind of pool of champions, what kind of champions do you want to see VBU play?
Ideally, VBU doesn't try to run a poke comp. I think poke comps in gold are really hard to execute, right? Like it's like wave management, it's like setting up before, it's like doing so much stuff, and like even on our team when we try to run poke comps, when we try to attempt to run poke comps, we always just fail miserably. So it's just like better go with like the stuff that works, like bruiser top, tank jungle, AP carry mid, or like assassin mid with mage bot lane or something like that, right? Like ideally, I would see something like the Camille top, the Sejuani jungle, the like Corki slash Stylus mid, and then like traditional bot lanes, right? Like Jinx Lulu or Jinx Leon, or bot lane doesn't really matter, but you know what I mean. Like something that's easy to execute, stuff that like works, stuff that like doesn't. You don't need to heavily outplay your opponent, and like granted, you do also need to know what your opponent like. It kind of goes back to the 5D chess, right? You kind of need to know what your opponents are doing. What is Flipper drafting? What are they trying to do? And how can we respond to it in our draft?
Yeah, and I have to agree with that. I think VBU sometimes, like, they try for one thing in a draft and then it kind of pivots into something else, and then your identity gets all jumbled up a little bit. That's normal for, I think, most draft and gold. But, like you said, Matt Pizza, I think that, I mean, this is in general, too, not specific to VBU. I think teams and any player, you see, pro players do it all the time. They pick comfort usually over meta because I know Clutch has talked about it a lot before too, and it's important to play what you're comfortable on, because then you don't have to worry about the mechanics. You don't have to worry like, oh, am I gonna have enough damage, or oh, I don't know, like my cooldown on this ability, right? And
Yeah.
being able to pilot a champion better than instead of playing, oh no, we need this champion to fit our team comp, or oh, we need this to like do that. Like, it's gold, anything can happen, I believe. So, like you said, Matt Pizza, I think what I would want to see from VBU is at least, like you said, go play the comfortable team comps, play those comfortable champions, and then you don't have to worry about messing up mechanically, and then then that gives Flippa an avenue to snowball the game. You just like out get 1v1s, or you get soloed, and then because you're playing a champion you're not super familiar with, and then it's all downhill from there.
Yeah, and like giving like, I mean, I know I said 3-1 VV, but giving any advantage to either teams in such a close game, right? It's like it could backfire on the team really heavily. But
Yeah, and so Matt Pizza, as I continue to get more content for the pregame show. So this is an overall season question. My question for you is,
yes.
out of all of the teams from week 1 to finals, was there a team you think in your eyes that just grew? So kind of like the underdog team almost, or a team
Yeah,
like most
kind of.
most improvement kind of award.
Yeah, I mean, I think that like right now, before we go into this finals game, right? Because it might change. I might swap it over to the other team. But right now, I would say Flipper definitely deserves the most growth, right? Like like a few wavelengths ago, we were talking about how Flipper just like exponentially grew to become this like monster playoff menace that like no one saw coming. And like right now, I would say I would give it to Flip Up. But if for some reason VBU is actually able to win, then I would say that I would give it to VBU, because they are able to top that exponential growth, that Flip experience, with their own like instantaneous growth. They just went from like losing to like, oh yeah, a few weeks, boom, better than you guys. So like it does depend on the series, but right now I would give the award to Flipper United.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw it in EDL season 1. I think BFE, when they were still under just the Burger Flip name, the team was struggling a lot throughout the regular season, and I think this org just has like a playoff buff or something, and they just come in like so much better than everybody else, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it really depends, right? And I think throughout this whole season, I have to agree with you. Like I said before, Flippa has been a team that, had the growing pains, and now they're just like, okay, well, we finished our training arc, and time skip happened. So
Hmm.
they're here and they're ready to win, and
You know,
well,
they just got done with their training arc, and
yeah, yeah.
BB's coming in, and then
It's like the time skip happens, and then they come back, and they have like a new scar on their face, and they're not gonna talk about it because
yeah,
it's just
exactly.
a training arc, and you don't know what happened during the training arc. That you just know that they went through something, and that's Flippa. And then
Hmm.
it's the training arc, and now they suddenly have like a whole new outfit. They got all the new abilities. I think
All the
that's how
new
that works.
tech,
All the new tech, exactly. So,
and
mhm.
I guess we could talk about this a little bit. So speaking about the new tech, right? Next season we will have a bunch of new tech that we'll drop some little hints here and there, but you guys should still stay tuned. We will be doing some fun tournaments and stuff. I think we're doing a Slapshot tournament that Clutch proposed, but I'm not entirely sure exactly.
Doesn't he have like a slapshot league going on?
Yeah, so I guess if you guys are into
Yeah,
Slapshot, then
slapshot
you
rebound.
should
It's
go
a
to
hockey game. I think that's usually like for 12-year-olds. And
the.
then, like, honestly, have you seen it? You just like spin around and you just hope for the best. People are like, I know how to control the puck, and I'm like, oh, I just spin my mouse around and hope for the best.
Yeah, you just hope that it goes in. You hope that you score points and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I mean, like you said, Matt Pizza, we have a couple of things for the off season. Obviously, this season ending a little bit late compared to a lot of other leagues. They're starting really soon. Actually, there are a lot of leagues I know that are starting within like the next week or two, or within the month. So yeah, we're looking to do some maybe like weekend tournaments or like some shorter invitationals, or I don't know, maybe Matt Pizza will finally get his ARAM league that he so desires.
Oh, the ARM League. I will try. Hopefully I'll be able to convince the rest of the EL staff. Maybe if the people out there do a little petition or something, might motivate them just a bit.
No, 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 no. We're not gonna
Hint,
do
hint.
the league. Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot to say. Obviously, going into finals, if Clutch was here, I would ask him because obviously it was his league. The whole story of the league was like, I think I don't even remember how he brought it up. He was like, I want to make an IBS league, and I was like, dude, I want to write your power rankings. I just wanted to write IBS power rankings, man, and now I'm here, stuck in stream prison. So, it's been a long journey. I think every season, I think this season especially for Gold and EDL IBS, like it all went by really quick. I remember season 1 when we had 6 teams. Do you remember that map pizza?
I
We
remember the
had the
Chicago
6 teams.
Dragons.
Yeah, you're a Chicago Dragons fan, and yeah, I mean, going through season 1, we learned a lot, put it into season 2, and then we were like, yeah, let's have a gold league, and then, oh, EDL kind of like went up in flames for a bit, and then somehow EGL was still like, okay, and staying on track.
Yeah.
So,
Just until the playoffs when we had like a minor like bump in the road,
yeah,
but let's not talk about that.
I don't know what you mean, Matt Pizza. I have no idea
Exactly.
what's going on. Okay, I'm reading Twitch chat. Fonzo said P2 players are allowed, specifically P242LP and below. Well, Fonzo,
Uh-huh.
I think I've showed you my u.gg. I'm not gonna talk about it. This is a Waveline. This is not my personal like stream, so life is ranked is ranked, so that's all I'll say.
But hey, I know that Ridley is in the chat right now, and Ridley, if you do pick Fiora, I might have to say switch my like 3-1
Okay.
BB to a 3-1 Flipper. It's all I'm saying.
Whoa.
Fiora all 3 games, but
Matt Pizza
just all
then. Are you saying that there are picks that you want to see from Flippa?
there are. Now I obviously I don't
Okay.
know if Ridley plays Fiora, but if he says he's not. Okay, Corrido, Fiora mid. Obviously, it's very viable, and I think it's the edge you need to beat Kaiten. He'll never see it coming. Or I mean, on the side of VB, right? Honestly, I just want to see a Fiora. I want to see someone play Fiora. I just want to like enjoy some gold Fiora gameplay. Could someone, fulfill my dream? Anyone? Twitch chat?
I guess
Okay, maybe
not
not
Matt Pizza. I
maybe not
guess
the Fiora jungle,
not.
but
You're a jungle. No. It's okay, All Fire. Just stay in Sejuani prison. It's
Sejuani
okay.
jail.
Yeah. Or Zach jail. That's what we saw too. We saw Zach actually. That was another pick we saw from All Fire. I think has been working out well for VBU. I mean, I just kind of want to see some spicy picks. It's a best of 5. You can have at least 1 or 2 games where it's like you try something fun. And Allfire
Yeah.
says he doesn't want to play the Zac. Well, Allfire, I think Diana is going to be permabanned against you, my friend. So it's going to be a Zac angle.
It's always Zach duty. And honestly, both teams, just have some fun. Pick some interesting, give us a good banger of a game. Some interesting picks.
All the Diana players in the chat. Fonzo says, Diana sucks. You would know that, right? Right, Fonzo? I'm sure. But yeah, I mean, overall, there's not much left to say other than just thank you to everybody that, participates in EGL. The league is nothing without its players. Otherwise, we just sit around, twiddle our thumbs, and, look pretty. So, yeah, I mean, we're here to, hopefully run a good stream and, make it everyone worth everyone's time. So, pretty thumbs. I agree with that, Fonzo. So, other than that, I think we're going to have to end the pregame show here. Again, 8 p.m. Eastern, finals. Flippa versus VBU. It is a best of 5. Will VBU be able to, get their revenge on Flippa? Or will Flippa be able to just sweep their way through all of playoffs? It's gonna be exciting. Packapal and Colonel, your 2 favorite goldcasters, our only 2 goldcasters, will be there tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. Hopefully, we'll see you guys there.